I really think that right now there's 3 car companies here in North America that I think are going to make it. One obviously is Tesla, 2 Ford Motor Company, I've already talked about that, and this is the 3rd one. I think these are the new big 3.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard the man, the myth, the legend, Sandy Munro himself, pointing out that he personally believes that of all the US automotive manufacturers, there's likely to be just 3 clear survivors. Tesla, Ford Motor Company, shout out to Jim Farley. He's saying the right things, doing the right things. There are promising signs there. And last but not least, Rivian Motor Company. What a big call. That means that everyone else is completely and utterly fill in the blank. And while I wish Rivian the best, I'm a little bit more skeptical on their ability to actually ramp to volume production without eventually going bankrupt. This is a good sign, and in just a moment we'll hear more of Sandy Munro's thoughts on their very first vehicle. He's begun tearing down the R1T, but good technology, quality engineering, a decent product, that's a start. But the real challenge here is reaching volume production without going bankrupt. I still remain extremely skeptical, although I do hope Rivian survives. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment themed merch in the merch store, so check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. Here we are over on the Reuters website, a quick article, quote, Rivian R1T electric truck, quote, way underpriced, but room to improve. Expert of course being the expert of experts, Sandy Munro. The Rivian R1T, one of the first electric pickup trucks on the market, is, quote, way underpriced, according to a manufacturing expert known for his sometimes blunt assessments of electric vehicles from Tesla and others. The R1T could also use some engineering and production changes to reduce its manufacturing cost, according to Sandy Munro, head of Michigan-based Munro & Associates, which tears down vehicles and advises automakers on how not to go bankrupt, on how to improve them. Known for his blunt YouTube assessments, by the way, shout out, let me know in the comments below who's a fan of blunt YouTubers. Munro, a former Ford manufacturing engineer, says the R1T has buckets of cost reduction opportunity, not unusual for a brand new vehicle from a first-time manufacturer. But the R1T, which starts at $67,500, quote, should be selling for $100,000. It's way underpriced for what it is and what it does, says Munro during a walk around of the dismantled vehicle at the company's Auburn Hills headquarters. That is good news for a company that just went public in November and continues to endure teething pains from delivery snafus to a backlash over poorly timed price increases. Oh, you mean f***ing customers without their consent while they're asleep, with retroactive price increases, and they go, oh, that was a bad idea. Maybe we shouldn't have done that. Sorry, we walk it back. That was a really bad sign. The fact that Rivian was willing to their earlier supporters so aggressively, violently, and non-consensually, it just shows, in my opinion, what a financially desperate situation they were in. There's no other reason you'd make such an idiotic decision so early on in your company's history. Just cop it. Just lose a little bit more money on those initial vehicles instead of f***ing over your earliest and most ardent supporters. Talk about a brain-dead decision. Good thing they reversed it, but the damage is done. It's kind of like punching someone in the face and then afterwards going, oh hey man, I'm really sorry I punched you in the face. Do you still want to be friends? Raising the vehicle's price tag could still be a challenge. Peter Rawlinson, CEO of EV maker Lucid Motors, and a former Tesla engineering executive, told Reuters in March that the R1T probably needs to be priced at around $95,000 to be profitable. I'll expand more on this point in just a moment. Like its chief competitor, the Ford F-150 Lightning, Rivian's new pickup features a body-on-frame design, but the R1T's bed and cabin are all one piece, unlike the F-150. The Lightning is priced from $40,000 to more than $100,000. Caveat there with the F-150, the commercial, I'm not going down that rabbit hole, but starting price of $40,000 is extremely misleading on the F-150. Quote, it's designed and built quite differently from traditional full-size pickups, says Ben Lindemood, a Munro director. Quote, the build quality still isn't as good as vehicles from more established brands, which is not dissimilar from the early Teslas torn down by Munro's shop. So overall, the Munro teardown, this is great. Clearly room for improvement, but also clearly not an absolute steaming pile of excrement. So a great start for Rivian. This is fantastic. But we really need to talk about the multiple comments about the price point this vehicle needs to actually be sold at to make a profit. Both Pete Rawlinson and Munro & Associates, both with expertise in manufacturing with an understanding of the cost of producing these vehicles, say that the Rivian R1T should be sold for about an extra 50% above its current retail price to actually make a profit. Even if you're really bad at math and not that smart, If a company's selling vehicles and losing tens of thousands of dollars for every vehicle sold, this obviously isn't a sustainable business model. At some point, they need to be selling the vehicles for a much higher price or massively reduce the cost for them to actually produce said vehicle. This is the same party trick all new EV startups and legacy automotive manufacturers will be pulling with their initial vehicles. They're going to try to sell them at a cost competitive price point so they can actually sell some, but behind the scenes from a business point of view, they're going to be bleeding money, selling these for either no profit or worse, gigantic losses, clearly not sustainable. Of course, this is an interim step to getting to volume production, benefiting from economies of scale and improving, but it's important to understand, if both Munro and Pete Rawlinson are saying, look guys, this thing is being sold way too cheap, they can't be making money on it, this doesn't make sense, it's not sustainable, and they both come to around the same figure of about $100,000, not $65,000, you have to understand the enormous effort Rivian will need to undertake to get from here to selling the vehicle profitably to consumers at a reasonable price point. I want to make sure that all the investors watching really understand this. This is the same party trick every EV maker, including legacy automotive manufacturers, are going to pull. First of all, they're going to announce a product with imaginary specifications that are subject and tentative to change and then will change and will be dramatically lower than what they actually originally offered or promised. No exceptions. Actually, there probably will be a few exceptions, but very few. Then, they'll start accepting reservations and pre-orders with a very minimal or no deposit whatsoever, and then they'll go touting their huge reservation numbers, the order backlog. Yeah, awesome, we can make electric vehicles, it's easy. Then eventually they'll start ramping up production, and then they'll delay production, and then they'll be having some problems with production, but eventually they'll solve them, and eventually they'll start their customer deliveries, which will be much less than they initially promised, but supply chain challenges and production is hard and so on. Then, at some point, they'll massively increase their prices, pissing off existing customers and reservation holders. Hopefully they won't be retroactive, but at some point they realize, oh, these are more expensive to make than we actually thought they were. Then they begin the uphill battle, and when I say uphill, I literally mean scaling Mount Everest, as I mentioned earlier, of actually reaching volume production without going bankrupt. Most of these companies will ultimately go bankrupt attempting to reach volume production of a compelling mass market vehicle. As they say, production is hard. I want to make sure that the investors out there get this. Every step of the way, these companies are trying to lure in dumb investors. Oh, look, we've got a new product. There's a computer rendering. Hey, look, we've got 12 pre-orders. Hey, look, we're going to start production next year. We'll produce 10,000 units. And then that gets revised down to 1,500 units and then ultimately ends up being 420 units. Then there's the price increases and the delays and blah, 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 blah. Rivian is showing some promising signs except for one gigantic fucking red flag. And as we know, that's the cost. If you're selling something for 65 grand that you need to be selling for 100 grand to make any money, not sustainable. And that would all be good and well. Unless, of course, there's a company out there whose costs are so much lower than yours, who've already reached volume production, who already have a track record, compelling vehicles, and a great brand. If a company like that decides to enter the same segment that you're in, like say pickup trucks, you could be in serious trouble. Tell you what, it's a damn good thing that Tesla doesn't have a pickup truck in the works that's soon to enter volume production. Otherwise, if I were Rivian, I would be really shitting bricks. The purpose of this video was just to provide a real quick but very serious warning to stock investors out there. If Sandy Munro, an automotive manufacturing expert, believes there's just going to be 3 US automakers that survive and have any meaningful market share, Tesla, Ford and Rivian, if we read between the lines there, that means everyone else is completely and utterly fucked. Despite their promises, despite their claims that they'll be selling more electric vehicles than Tesla by mid-decade, despite the claims they have the best battery technology, shout out to the Ultium platform and so on, I think the message here to stock investors is tread with extreme caution. And now, one final closing comment on Rivian. As we heard, they're showing promising signs. Their product doesn't suck shit, although there is plenty of room for improvement as you'd expect. The real problem here is there's a massive discrepancy between what Rivian is selling their product for and what they need to sell their product for to not ultimately go bankrupt. It's possible that they can close the gap, but this is going to be an extremely difficult undertaking. So be alert, dear investors. If you see companies out there touting their huge reservation numbers, the imaginary specifications for their current computer rendering which they claim will be a future product, telling everybody that they're all in on EVs, they're committed, they're accelerating their investment and so on, just understand the extreme difficulty going from a prototype to a production vehicle to profitably producing a compelling production vehicle that consumers actually want to buy. Oh, and then there's the whole also competing with Tesla. As I've said 4 trillion times, Tesla has won the decade. It's just a matter of watching this play out. I wish all EV startups and all legacy automotive manufacturers luck in not only surviving the decade, but actually producing a compelling, profitable electric vehicle at scale. I wish them all the best. I hope they'll be successful, but as we know, hope is not a strategy. Be warned. By my estimation, Rivian is probably about 0.1% of the way up Mount Everest. It's a start, but that's all it is. And lastly, don't forget to join Patreon with the card in the corner or the link in the pinned comment. Loads of exclusive content, up-to-date access to my Tesla stock price targets, plus you can access my Tesla valuation model at the investor supporter level and above. See you guys over on Patreon. I'm Stephen Mark Ryan, this is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks, and get some free stocks and crypto. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment themed merch in the merch store. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. So check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. And if you're still watching, you're awesome. I read every single comment on this channel and I really appreciate your feedback. So if you've got any thoughts on today's video, questions, comments, or suggestions for a new video, let me know in the comments below. Check the cards on screen now to browse the merch store, join Patreon, or watch the next video.